Welcome everyone to the Proven Knowledge Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Church. I'm a music producer from Northeast Ohio. I began this weekly interview series to give you different perspectives from artists, producers, engineers, and other individuals in the music industry. In each episode, we touch on not only what has helped the person succeed, but we also touch on what has shaped them into the person that they are today. I hope you're able to gain some real proven knowledge from the show, and that it helps elevate you on your own journey to success as well. Let's get into it. Going on, guys, welcome to episode 250 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Today I welcomed a Midwest artist. His name is Jarmar Green. Jarmar is another artist sent to me by Dom. As always, shout out to Dom for sending me amazing artists. And this was a really cool episode today. Jarmar talked about his initial beginnings in metal music, being in and out of many bands over the years, how that was kind of his initial introduction to music. And then around 2016-17, he made the transition into doing hip-hop and being a solo artist. So really, the main theme of today's discussion was talking about what that transition kind of meant to him, the struggles of it, the people that he learned from along the way, and really just where it has led him to now, almost 10 years later. He actually just dropped a new project called Backends at the beginning of this year, and he has a lot more music in the works that I am very excited about. And I'm looking forward to just staying in touch with Jarmar on what he does moving forward, and hopefully working with him very soon as well. And I thank him for taking the time out this week to join me. So without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome everyone to episode 250 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Today we have another awesome artist that Dom sent my way. As always, shout out to Dom. This guy is a really stellar MC from what I can tell. He's got a lot of music out there, and he actually just put out an EP called Backends in the last few weeks. So everybody please welcome Jarmar Green to the show. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's good? Happy motherfucking Sunday, everybody. Yeah. Anthony, thank you so much for inviting me out to the podcast, The Proven Knowledge. It's a beautiful day, and I'm excited to be here, man.
Yeah, well, again, thanks for wanting to be on the show, and again, thanks to Dom, for sending you over to me. And I've been looking forward to our discussion. And usually, to start off every episode, we have the guest give some background. How did you initially get into music? Kind of what led you to want to become an artist in the first place?
Loaded question, and one of my favorite questions to answer, to be honest. But my music journey started in high school. Now, when I got into music, I knew about rap, I knew about hip hop, but what really made me want to pick up an instrument to really immerse myself was, before that, it was the clarinet in grade school, but that was because I thought being in band was cool, right? But no, after that, what made me want to compose, made me want to get into theory, made me want to get into, music, period, is high school. I went to a concert. My buddy dragged me to a concert. I had no idea what I was going to get myself into, but it ended up being a death metal, suicide silence concert. Back when Mitch Luger was the top dog, and man, it was just so eye-opening. And that's when I was like, whoa, where did all this emotion where did these guys get all these emotion from their yelling and their screaming and their guitars and their drums and everything? It blew my mind away, to be honest. Yeah. And I've never heard anything like it, and I was like, dude, I want to play music like that. And that's how I got into it. I picked up a guitar. My grandmother got me a guitar real early. I never really played it, but I had it. But after going to that show, I think I really wanted a guitar, like really bad. So my mom got me LTD, which is like a step down from a guitar company called ESP. And that was the name brand, and LTD was like the little sister of the same company, if you will. That's what really made me pick up the guitar, start learning different songs on YouTube and things upon that nature, and it was fun. So I asked a bunch of my friends, asked people who I knew played instruments, asked people who played instruments in my school, and I made a band, and it was fun. Band after band, members after members. We've even went through a band change. We went on a mini tour here in the Midwest. We played different shows, different venues. My favorite place to play is still a basement show. I don't know why. That's so grungy and everything like that. You can, but it was the best. It was the best environment, best fun ever. All the people were live, and it was so much. Everybody was just so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then what made me really switch out of metal, death metal, was the fact that I can do rap hip hop myself. All I needed was an engineer to make some beats. All I needed was a few ideas of stories to tell over some beats that resonated with me. And that's what I've been doing ever since. And I feel like that transition happened 2016, 17, back when I released Viewer Discretion. That was my first ever rap song. And it's been like that ever since. And I still play my guitar. It's still back here. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, yeah,
but it's a
there it
headless 7-string. Like, oh man, Strandberg. I love that thing. Cost the arm and a leg, but
yeah,
it's still my baby. But yeah, that's my music intro and where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you told me all of that, because I'm going to be honest, I didn't even know any of the metal background at all, because I haven't had the ability to do that extensive research yet. But I think it's great for me to find it out too now. And I always say, because I've always been more of a hip hop head, like I like certain bands, like coming up, and my brother is into punk music and a lot of rock and stuff. And the debate we've always had, which he kind of agrees with it to an extent, is that a reason I like hip hop a lot is because, rappers, some of them are in groups and duos and things like that. And sometimes they might split up and do their own thing. I feel like in bands, it's always the death of most bands is just them breaking up, and then it's just done. And sometimes it's like those people might not even have solo careers afterwards. So it's just like it's a dead thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I've always
we literally was having this conversation. I'm a big gamer too, if you can't tell in my background and shit. But like, I was in a conversation with a buddy of mine, Royal. This is an online name, and he's a big metalhead, like slam metal, death metal, screamo, emo, all that. Like he went through it all with me yesterday. We were just listening to track after track after track. We went through like 30 tracks of tossing each other artists and stuff like that. But that's exactly what we were talking about. It was like, bro, we're listening to a Parkway Drive song. I don't know if you even heard of that band before, but they were a pretty big metalcore band that really revolutionized that sound and stuff like that from Australia. And that fucking song was 17 years old, and I just couldn't believe it, fathom that. And they're still a band, but that time between like 2017, 2010, that really influenced me in my music. All those bands are either changed members, no longer, but they were insane musicians. And you're right. Sometimes it's just the mentality of the man, of the human, and that can get in the way of creativity, art, and bro, people will, over a vendetta, over a grudge, people will sit the gold in their backyard and just wait. Yeah. It's so funny. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think when you're an individual, or you start out as an individual, you have more freedom because you can do your thing as an individual, but you can also join little groups if you want to as well. But it doesn't have to be the end of everything you're doing. Even if that group comes to an end, you still have your own career as an individual. I feel like when you start out in a band and the band is your identity, it's a lot harder to kind of reinvent yourself afterwards. So I think it's great for you to be able to have made that transition, not just in genres, just to be able to kind of make the transition of doing your own thing as well. And I am kind of curious to know, because, changing genres is, I would assume it's a big thing. I've never really done it myself.
It's hard.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about the learning curve that you had to go through back, because you said it was like 2016, 17 is kind of when you started, on this new journey. So, like, what was that learning curve like at the time? And are you still kind of, getting through that? Or do you think you've fully transitioned now into a place of more comfort to be able to do what you're doing now?
Amazing question. And the transition, I'll start there, because the transition itself was kind of hard, because coming from metal, like, it was like aggressive. It was, and there was some like very vibey parts, but it wasn't like what you would think like in hip hop rap. I'm going to have to just lean really heavy around the people around me. I had C-Dab, I had John Schillinger, Mountain Jack is what we call him. These two people were like the entrance to my transition. They were just around. They had studio stuff. They were already recording stuff, and I just kind of entered to be a fly on the wall to see how it all was. And after seeing them do it, and I was like, let me write something. Let me figure something out. Let me get a jab at that. And I fell in love. And I hold it dear to them because they are still very heavily a part of my, like, I wouldn't say great success. I'm not like mainstream or anything, but I do see success, and I do see more success in what I'm doing now than I did with my metal stuff, because it was just a lot of give to the craft when you're in a metal band. Not only is the equipment very expensive, it's maintaining, it's traveling, it's loading up, it's maintaining 5 people. Once again, their equipment, how their sound. It's a lot more intuitive, and if you don't have all hands on ship, then. But shout out to them. They helped me with my transition because they were making beats there. We were from ground up making songs. So being able to see that and kind of translating it into my own language for my metal made the transition easy.
Yeah.
And I feel like with tempo and time signature, usually in hip hop, everything is like, 4/4. There's not a lot of bouncing around. There's not like a 8/16 time signature. There's not like madness going on with time signature. So it's like easier for me to just like relate. Okay, how can I tell a story over this song? You know?
Yeah. I think it's great too, because when you're trying to learn something like that or make that transition, if you're doing it all by yourself, it's got to be a lot more difficult than it is when you have people there to kind of walk you through it a little bit more. So I think it's a great thing that you had people there at the time to be able to learn from, and kind of kick ideas off of and do things like that. And how do you think your writing, recording style has evolved since those beginning days, like up until now? Do you feel like you have finally caught like a good momentum with how you write and how you record and how efficient you are when you're creating, the tracks and the albums and all that stuff?
I've definitely come a long way. I've still things as small as writer's block still get in my way, and I still work a 9 to 5. So don't get during those hours. I'm still either doing my sales, doing my job or stuff like that. So I'm not full 100% on this stuff. I am happy that like here's my office, here's my gaming. Oh, there's my music. I can record right here. So it's like easy, accessible like that. But my time is precious. When I get to focus on my music, I definitely lock in. And I think my writing style now compared to, because I didn't do any lyrics when I was in my metal band. It was purely the music, the guitar, the bass, the drums, how I think, my vision. That's what it was. And then the lyrics came from the vocalist. But the main thing, and my main point there, is the fact that being able to translate my lyrics was one of those things I kind of needed help with. Like, oh, I don't know what to write about. I'm having writer's block. I mean, and bro, you can really write about anything. Like, and I was like, yeah, you're right. I don't know. Let me lock in real quick. So like, really, it was just a mindset and getting over that hurdle and getting more confident about telling my story and then fitting words around my story to make it into a song. I mean, once you have the vision, putting in the ladder or putting in the steps to that goal is kind of easy, but having that middle and end is where it gets the hardest to me. So I think the lyric structure has gotten a lot better. I'm still learning. I'm still doing what I know until I'm full time at the stuff. Hey, I'm always in that learning mode.
For sure. And I think you always will be too, because that's the beauty of, being a creative, being an artist, is that you're always learning something new at every step and every stage of it too. And it's great. It's definitely something to work towards as well. I like what you said though. It's kind of like working from point A to point B, but then what is going to happen in between all that, and trying to kind of channel that energy in the right way. And that also brings up a good question about, drawing inspiration. Because you obviously need inspiration to be able to create and songwrite and record. So where do you think you draw the most inspiration from in life, especially nowadays, like where you're at in this point of your journey?
So, great question. My Backends album EP that I released, I call it an album because I'm independent, and you tossing out more than 3 songs, that's a lot of work. You're over 10 minutes at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like 10 minutes of somebody's time nowadays, that's an album to me. I mean, I'm not signed under Atlantic or NVIDIA or Sony. So putting out an hour worth of content is a lot of work. So giving you 15 minutes, that's an album to me.
Yeah.
EP, 3 songs. But hey, Apple Music says it different, so we're gonna say EP. Backends, where my mindset was at on that, was a lot more confident, a lot more. Okay, this is my price. This is what I'm. Oh, this is me saying what I'm worth because I know what I'm worth, and I'm big on a couple of things like controlling what you can control, and in those moments of what you are, and even in uncomfortable moments. If you can control what you can control, you will always be able to come out on top or be able to move forward confidently. And those uncomfortable moments become way more easier. So like, no, there's no really good like line from line that give you that same energy from Backends. But in Backends, I really did preach heavily on protecting what's yours, making sure your vibe is always clean and cut. Because, your vibe is your energy. Your energy reflects on everything. Yeah. Everything you do, everything you say, everywhere you go, your energy holds in it, and it bounces off people. Period. I mean, we are all antennas. That shit is from space, and that shit is way out there. But we are all antennas. It's crazy. But like, your energy really matters in protecting that and protecting your space and who we allow in the space, and focusing on you, focusing on your vision is where I'm really holding in my lyric energy and where I want to focus on my lyrics. So that's what Backends was about. I dropped that on the 28th. It just came out, like you said, a couple of weeks ago. And I think that was the main goal on that one. And going into the future, I really like to reflect on like stories and different things that like has happened, and kind of giving each song its own like moment in time to me.
Hey there, hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick minute out to let you know about a couple different ways that you can support the podcast. One of the ways is by clicking that support the podcast button within your streaming platform. That is if you want to be a monthly supporter of the show. You can contribute either 99 cents, $5, or $10 a month. So that's the first way, and that's the more traditional way that we've had now for the last couple years. The other method that we actually just recently introduced is from our good friends over at Ko-fi. Ko-fi is a virtual tip jar. We have set our limit to a minimum of $10, but you can go make one-time, one-off donations. So if you visit ko-fi.com/the Proven Knowledge Podcast, you'll be able to donate. And all these different forms of donation go towards getting new guests every single week, getting potential sponsors on board to do giveaways, and overall just making the show better for you guys. So if you want to do that Ko-fi link, it's ko-fi.com/the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Otherwise, again, look for that support the podcast button in your streaming platform if you'd like to be a monthly supporter. And I just want to say thank you guys for your contributions. And without further ado, let's get back into the episode. I love that. And I totally agree, because I always feel like the energy you put out is what you get back, no matter what. And I feel like when a lot of people kind of, even if they don't know it, if they're giving off the negative energy, it's like they wonder why they're getting the same thing back. It's like it's because of that reciprocation, you know what I mean? So it has to be there to begin with you. It starts with you. And then what you get back is what, you put out, and vice versa. So I definitely love that. And I think being able to, represent that in your music is a big thing, because it kind of is the fabric of, what makes an artist at the end of the day, and being able to tell their story. Yeah. So I'm happy to hear that that's kind of, where you've been at and what you just did with Backends as well. And is there anything you want to reveal, because you just talked about, what's going to be coming up in the future? Is there anything kind of set in stone that you're going to be putting out in the next few months, or are you still kind of, working through ideas to see what the next move's going to be?
I'm always working on new stuff, man. I got a buddy of mine. It's Mindway Boy. He from like overseas. He found me on like Twitch. Like I said, I play games, so I stream. And he sent me a beat, and I love when this beat is. I'm writing to it, and he was like, "Bro, I want to practice mixing." I was like, "All right, let me send you a song." And I'm going through like 12 unreleased songs that I have. I'm just like sitting here like, God dang. And that's really where I was listening through these songs, and I'm like, dang, I'm like really telling a story about each time, like each moment of my life, like, and I think my next project is going to be like a concept on like just each song having its own story. And you can say that about Backends too, but I feel like Backends had one common ground of give me what's mine. Don't disrespect my time. Don't disrespect my money. Don't disrespect the people I love. And I feel like that was that, man. But my future ones are more like uh, more connected to like the a story or like a time or. And I feel like there's a couple of songs I'm like thinking in my head that I don't want to name yet because I want to build that. Yeah. I want to build that the hype. But yeah, I think the next projects are going to be more on like the storytelling vibe on taking a moment and really laying that out on some paper. And I've come to love the fact that songs don't need to be over 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes long. So like getting your point across real quick is awesome.
Yeah. And I think each one kind of represents a moment in time as well. And then to be able to build kind of the catalog fully out, I think it's great to be able to go back and reflect on, each one that you put out and be like, yeah, that was a moment in time. And then obviously the listeners can appreciate that too, which is a big thing. So, but I'm definitely excited, man. I'm excited to see what's going to be coming up. And we're down to the last few questions here. And these are ones I ask on every episode. More life-related ones. The first one is, if you could go back 10 years ago and give yourself a piece of advice, or maybe not change anything at all, what do you think you would do?
10 years ago, what advice would I give myself 10 years ago? What was I even doing 10 years ago? Damn.
Would have been 2015.
Yeah, 2015, I was pretty nice. I was working for a travel company. I was working for RCI. I don't know if you ever understood timeshares or you know anything about timeshares, but I was slinging those, and that was a pretty good time. I would have told myself to jump ship a lot earlier and start working on more music stuff. And if I would have started rapping then, because I was still heavy in the metal stuff, still going through the band drama and being overly patient on like certain people. Like I remember one time in 2015, we were still playing shows in 2015. It was still Realms. It was every couple of weeks we were playing a show. And yeah, I think it was just like cold turkey. We quit because it was just a band breakup. It was just bad timing, right?
Yeah.
Some people moved or something like that. It was a bad time. So I would have told myself, hey, fuck all that jazz. If your band is not getting it together, try to find a way to be more creative by yourself. And I almost think I was, because I was making like these solo little guitar things, but it wasn't enough to me to go out, record it, put it behind my money and release it. But now I would have been like, bro, start rapping. Start getting these beats, bro. You got friends that are doing that shit right now.
Yeah.
And I would have been like, click up with them. But hey, without a story, there would be no what if, Yeah. So like, it is what it is. But that's what I would tell myself. Don't wait on other people no more. Get to your business, get to your dreams, and still, yeah. Like today, nowadays, like if I have a song, I'll record it right here in my room. I send it off, and I get it back, mix and master it, and I release it on my own time. And I love that power, and I wish I had that back then in a band.
Yeah, almost like getting a head start on that journey, in a way. So yeah, I definitely can see why that would be very important. And if we,
can I do one more? Because
go ahead.
This is a good time to. I mean, 2015, I think I started smoking, but back then when I don't think I was smoking like that, but even then, people who were smoking, they were just smoking and lighting it with the butane from a lighter. I've been really, really adamant about utilizing things like hemp wick, just so it's a better light source. And also, you don't get the chemicals on your light. So I would push that narrative.
Yeah.
Instead of making it so cool just to light up like this. Like, no, that's bad. That's chemical. You're getting that straight to your lungs. That's literally giving you cancer. But if you did it the natural way with the hemp wick, you're protecting yourself in a little way.
That's another sidebar I feel like some people are definitely gonna appreciate. So.
Yeah, I'm a big healther. Like, even my coffee, bro. I'm drinking mushroom coffee. You ever heard of Everyday Dose?
No.
Okay, yeah, it's a mushroom coffee. It's like limeade. It helps with like mental clarity and stuff like that. But it gives you like a boost of like if you were drinking coffee. Yeah. And if you put your cream and you put cream in it and mix it up and shit like that, it literally tastes like a latte.
Yeah.
Shit, tell myself that 10 years ago.
Right.
My gut health would have been all right.
I was gonna say that's even more life related right there. That's just your health and well being in general. So that's a big one.
Two things that are in front of me right now that I didn't do 10 years ago for sure.
It just came to mind because they were right there. You're like, oh, I gotta get this one off real quick. So
drink more water. Obviously.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. And if we flip that idea then and we say 10 years from now, where do you think you kind of envision yourself musically and in life in general?
Bro, 10 years from now, Anthony, you and I are about to have these tracks kind of like The Alchemist and 2 Chainz, and then we about to
man.
play some hits. I'm still running your stuff right here. And I know I mean it's just tight. Seriously, 10 years from now, I hope to be whatever I'm doing. I'm a mad hustler, so I've been doing sales my whole entire, whether it's vacuums going door to door, whether it's timeshares, whether it's unified communications as a service. And that's what I'm doing now. But like, I've been a mad go hustler, over the phone, door to door, whatever. And that's what I like to spend my time. And if I'm not in like business, like I'm going to not a concert, but I'm going to a conference next month in Vegas, and I'm going to be around a bunch of unified communication people. So like that's the things I'm doing now. And even before, I was always in communication sales, but like it was on a different way.
Yeah.
I was always using Zoom to do business meetings and shit like that. But now I'm actually selling something like this. So like something like that in 10 years, I'm going to be elevated, blown up on, but also my music. My music is the soul heart of I get behind the mic, bro. That's when Jarmar Green is really, really him. So like, I want to be financial free, wherever my skills lay, whatever I'm hustling in. Multi-talented. Like anytime I'm going into like, oh, who are your biggest role models? Like you ask my influences and stuff like that. Like people that you wouldn't ever think of. Like people like Master P, like who took like music and just made it as a step in his game. He made movies. He joined the NBA. He made products. He made ice cream. Like he's the E40. E40 was just going viral again, being at the fucking playoffs. No, he wasn't at the playoffs. He was at some basketball game. He was showing off one of his products. But him saying, I used to hate E40. I used to hate the way his raps. But now I'm a grown man, and I'm like, wow, I really do like E40 because his whole movement and his whole lingo was actually translated into what rap is today. Like the word plug and music was. Like E40, you know, like people like that. Even Soulja Boy, like you think he's crazy. Obviously he is, but like he's not when he says he's the first person to do something. Like he was literally the first rapper on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like think about that.
06, 07, right in that time frame for sure.
He was really going viral on YouTube first person. Like people like that really are eye-opener. I'm not going to say my other favorite one because he's going through hell right now. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but he's about to release an album called Bully. Another person that took music and then product and things like that, you know, he's from the Midwest, and God help him, but I know he's doing whatever he can to sell more albums for all them kids he got, but he's going through something I don't even want to talk about right now. But these people are like people I really do think that are, oh my God, geniuses that take music as a stepstone. Music is something that holds people together. You can't go no time throughout history without human history without music being a part of it. And I think these people just understood music, got the music out, but then also touched on other things. Like, it's the same thing with like sports people. They go into acting too. You know, same thing here. Like, I think these people and these icons are just not rap. They're not product.
Yeah.
They're everything. Where the money at?
Yeah, becoming very multifaceted is kind of what it's all about. So I think, you know, being able to look forward to continuing the elevation too in what you're doing and continuing to diversify is a huge thing. So that's awesome. So, and do you have any final words of wisdom today for the listeners?
Absolutely. I always got some words of wisdom, and they usually are the same. I know I said it before. Control what you can control, because everything that's uncontrollable, if you can just think about and focus in on what you can control, those uncomfortable moments are going to be way more comfortable. And I live by that, because I usually do stick to my own, do stick to what I know. A pretty routine. I do like a routine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and controlling what I control really gave me mental clarity on what is in front of me, and being able to say, like, I'm very confident where I'm going. So, like, this music stuff, it can get wildish. I know I haven't done enough, but I know I haven't done any. I know I've done something. So, like, there's always more to do. Like, I haven't played a show in a couple of years, so that's one thing. That's one big goal of mine. I want to get back out there and play some more shows. But besides that, I know I'm always grinding at something.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing, because I'm controlling what I can control.
Yeah.
I'm in the areas where I can be at. So if that's how I can get found, that's how I can get found. So That's my word of wisdom. Control what you can control, so all those uncomfortable moments can be more comfortable.
Yeah, 100%. And keeping everything right in front of you, and like you said, keeping that control, that's the biggest thing.
Yes, sir.
And Jarmar, man, I got to say thanks again for stopping by, and keep doing that for yourself, man. Keep carving out your lane and what you're doing, and I can tell that you're very passionate about what you're doing and very excited to see where it goes, and I am excited for you, man.
I appreciate that, man.
So feel free to stop back anytime. You're always welcome, man. And again, thanks for the time.
Absolutely, Anthony. Thank you so much for your time, bro, and thank you so much for the Proven Knowledge podcast. You guys are fucking amazing.
Thanks, guys, for listening today. That was episode 250. We'll be back this time next week. As always, hit that support button on your podcast streaming platform if you'd like to send us any funds. And feel free to leave us that 5-star rating if you enjoyed today's episode. And as always, tune in every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/AnthonyChurch24 for more in-depth and exclusive content. But until next week, we'll see you then. Thanks as always for listening.